This is Leanne with IMPRINT Entertainment. Today we have two-time platinum songwriter, producer, R&B artist, and Jersey native, Tone Stith. Stith, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm blessed to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to have you. What's been going on?
Other than recording and finishing my project, I've just been in New Jersey and waiting for the weather to get warmer.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, it's the winter. We're all waiting. We're all waiting on the new sunshine.
Right.
So we've just, exciting news from you. You've just released your live version of F With Me.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank
That
you.
was such an exciting thing for us and for the fans to see. Tell us about the process. How did that go for you?
So with FWM, that song actually was recorded like end of 2020. I went out to LA and pretty much like the whole project was done in a month and a half. So we just kind of booked the studio and just every day was just cranking out songs. But that song was a very unique song. And I think me and my team and everybody that was in there, like when the song was being created, we all kind of knew it was like, yo, it feels special. Like it's a different feeling about the song. So when we chose to go with like that song for the first single, I was excited. I was like, yo, I think, everybody that heard this gave like a crazy response. So I think it's going to be really good. So, yeah.
Awesome. And so in the video, I think at the beginning, we get to see a bit of your personality. You're like, you got to cut that out.
Yeah.
How is that is that how you like to put your spin on music? Like, do you see yourself a lot in the music, or what's your take on it?
Absolutely. The music is very honest. I mean, it's me. Everything that I write and make just comes from an honest place or an experience. So the music is definitely me. So like what you see in the video is that's all me.
Awesome. And so the setup, where were you actually? It looked like a warehouse.
Yeah, so we were in downtown LA at a warehouse and they just lit it up real nice and it was cool. It was a bigger area than what we shot at, but the way they did the camera work and everything like that was amazing. So yeah.
Exciting. Awesome. And how long, you said you were working on it since 2020. But how did that kind of go for you during the pandemic? I know a lot of our artists have had, some difficulties with their creative process. Tell us a bit about that.
So the pandemic was, it was good and it was challenging at the same time. So I took both from each side, but it was a little hard because, some days it just felt like, oh, like, what am I going to do? Creatively, like it just felt drained. It's like, I've been doing the same thing for weeks. I'm in the same place. Like, how am I going to get more inspiration? But, you just got to keep listening to new music and keep finding ways to just keep yourself inspired. But what had happened was in November, it was still in the pandemic, but LA let up a little bit. So we were able to just go out into, LA and use the studio. And it was definitely a COVID-free environment. Everybody had to wear a face mask, hand sanitizer and all that. But it was good to just be back in the workflow too around people because it's different when you're in the room working.
Of course, no, I get it. And it's nice to see that, you're still able to provide for that in-person experience. It almost felt so intimate that we were in that room with you and, we're just jamming with you right on.
Cool.
That's very, very exciting. For some of us who may not kind of know a bit about you, tell us more about where you came from, how you got to where you are, and, what's been something so big for you in your journey.
So I'm born and raised New Jersey, East Coast. I've been doing music since I can remember. I started playing the drums when I was 3 years old. My mom, she sang in church, so I really got singing from her. My dad was a drummer, so he plays and stuff like that. So that's where I got, both sides of the music from. But growing up, they just played a ton of music in my family from, different eras. I mean, it could be from the 60s, 70s, 80s. And just from, James Taylor to Marvin Gaye, like that's just how wide the range went. And I just picked up on all of that and, developed my sound. And then I got signed to Jazz Prince in 2014. And that was the first time I went out to LA. And it was crazy because it was new for me. I'm from New Jersey, small town. Like, as you can see, it's the woods back here. So from a small town and everything. But just being introduced to the lifestyle and being around so many stars, it was just very like motivating. And then my name started buzzing around the industry when I worked with Chris Brown. So once I met Chris, you know, we did like 6, 7 songs, and then I ended up having the single off of his royalty album, which is Liquor. And then another song landed on the royalty album, and that kind of got my name buzzing around the industry, and now we're here.
Awesome. And how did it feel for you to know that, you know, you wrote for such big name artists like Chris Brown, and now you're able to write for yourself? What was the change, and what made you kind of say, I want to do this?
I think it was the fact that, you know, all right, that's a great question, because at the time when I was working with Chris, and, you know, I still work with Chris, but at the time when it first started, in my mind, I was like, you know, I'd rather just be behind the scenes. I'd rather write songs. I'd rather produce them, and then just be the guy that's behind the music. But then when I met Chris, who was like definitely one of the people that I looked up to in the industry, when I met him, it just made it like, yo, Chris Brown really likes my music. He, you know, he's cutting my songs and stuff like that. Like, do this, you know. It just kind of gave me that extra push, and it just made me like, it brought me that much closer to, you know, my dreams. So I was just like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna go for it.
That's awesome. And it's great to see that, you know, you kind of had that relationship with him, and you still do.
Yeah,
I feel like that's very key in terms of kind of influences, inspirations, and of course mentors in the game.
exactly, for sure.
Awesome. And you said that you were very musical when you grew up. What was kind of an instrument that got you to where you are? What's something that you still do?
So this is, people have been asking me this, and I have to say it's 2 answers to it, because drums was my first love. So I fell in love with the drums, and I still play drums to this day. But, you know, like, give or take 6 years ago, I picked up the guitar, and to me, I don't know, I guess because I'm older, the guitar sort of speaks more to me, because it's almost like singing. It's the same as singing. You can make the guitar sing notes and things like that. You know, it's more than just playing the strings. Like, you're telling a story with it. So I don't know. I think as I get older, I'm falling in love more so with the guitar.
Awesome. It's nice to say that you tell stories. We hear that a lot from you in your songs. And is something that we expect to see more of?
Absolutely,
future
absolutely. This next project coming up, which is called FWM, is a bunch of storytelling, and it all comes from a real place and real life experiences. So I'm really excited to share that with the fans, because, you know, I have the fans that grew with me, but I feel like now, I don't know, I'm just 25-year-old Tone now. So I'm bringing a different energy. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome. And if you had to cite kind of one inspiration for that album, for that project, what would you say it was?
I mean, you know what? The inspiration behind the whole project was just, like I was saying, just reintroducing myself, you know, as Tone Stith, as this new version of Tone Stith. Like, you might know me before, but it was this time for you to really F with me.
Right. And it's nice to see that, you know, you're still working hard, you're still putting it out for the fans, and you're still able to show us who Tone Stith is.
Yeah.
Really, I like that.
Yeah, and thank you.
So in terms of kind of other works, what else are you working on? Are you focusing a lot? Well, we saw a lot of your dance moves in that video. So,
yeah. There'll
what
definitely
else
be more dancing, more instrument playing. But yeah, right now I'm just very focused on this coming project, pushing this single. We're getting ready to shoot a video to the single soon, so I'm excited for that, like an actual music video. And release more projects down the road. So it's just a ton of new music coming, and once we start, we're not going to stop. That's the thing.
That's awesome. And you know what? If you had to give us kind of one message to the fans, what would you like to say, and what do you expect that they do with the music that you're recently releasing?
First, I would just like to thank all my fans, because it's been a journey, and I have a lot of fans that, you know, like I said, they knew about me before, and they've been on this journey with me for years now. And they're always like, what's going on, man? Like, you should be bigger, you should, you know, whatever. But, you know, everything happens when it's time to happen. And I just want to thank them for sticking with me. And I just feel like with those fans that's been with me through this whole journey, when they see this new Tone Stith, is just gonna verify, like, yeah, man, this is what we've been waiting on. You know what I mean? This is the moment we've been waiting on. And I feel like it's all lining up for it to just take off. So.
And do you feel that timing's been like very instrumental to you? Like timing
Absolutely.
is key?
Absolutely. I didn't before Devotion, it was 2 years that I didn't even release music in 2018, 2019. So it's definitely a timing thing, and definitely just a self-awareness and just learning more about myself and just preparing myself for now. So it all definitely lines up and works together.
Well, that's exciting. I think this was great. It was lovely to have you here with us today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. What's going on, y'all? This is Tone Stith with IMPRINT Entertainment.